Prakash Belawadi is an Indian theatre, film, television, and media personality, teacher, activist, and journalist from Bengaluru, Karnataka. Born into a family of theatre and cinema artists, Prakash obtained a degree in mechanical engineering in 1983. But he has devoted most of part of his years to the stage, cinema, journalism, and teaching. With his unique, transdisciplinary, multilingual, global mindset, he has a very forward looking and innovative outlook for humanity across many domains. What a great honor to have you here with us. We welcome you here on the Mind Show, powered by Wise Mirror and Project Capnium.
Thank you so much. My privilege.
Thank you. Now, you have been honored with so many awards, accolades, and standing ovations for your tremendous work in numerous series, movies, some very powerful ones like Mumbai Diaries, Kashmir Files, theatre performances from Counting and Cracking, for which you received the Best Actor Male in 2019, to The Jungle and the Sea, which is currently playing at Belvoir Street Theatre here in Sydney. Your debut film, Stumble, that you wrote and directed, won the National Award for Best Film in the English Language 2003. The film has now been included in the national telecaster Doordarshan's Best Indian Cinema Series. Tell us a bit how you stumbled upon this idea, what it's about, and how you took it forward. And also, if you could share some highlights from your career, please.
Yeah, we had founded a company, just a couple of us friends with me. The three or four of us. We started a company called Two Streams Media back in 1999. And at that time, IT was the craze in Bangalore, where I'm from. We thought we'll make an IT company of some nature. But the lure for us was always the media and entertainment. And eventually, we made a television series, which I wrote and directed, called Garva, in the Kannada language.
Right.
And I did all kinds of innovation with that. I learned on the job practically. We did non-linear editing. It had just come into being, into use in India. Non-linear video editing. What we did was, there was only 5 or 6 editors who knew that in the whole city. I just got a unit, and we trained everybody in-house. We got a trainer, and 6 or 7 of them were trained to do editing. And I used digital cameras. I did not use the old Betacam analog,
Right. Because you've seen the whole journey from very early days of
and
black and
nobody
white almost right
e-
through the Betamax.
exactly.
And
So I've Umatic
yeah,
tapes.
that's right.
And this was the channel didn't know that we were using digital video.
Yeah.
We just said sampling, and they said this is good, and we use it. And they came and saw the shooting,
Yeah.
because we're shooting with multiple cameras. They saw the small, like, handy cams, and they were shocked. They're saying, "Are you doing it with this?" I said, because I'm an engineer. I'll tell you, if you just crunch it, the resolution, what happens is the resolution is as good as the smallest resolution you get in the process.
Mm.
A chain is as strong as its weakest link.
Yep.
It does not matter how big tank you have. It can only store
Yeah.
that much information, water, all kinds of metaphors I did, but it was difficult to convince them,
Mm-hmm.
except that they did analysis in the lab and said, yeah, this is compatible with, because what they were doing is they would dump it down
Mm-hmm.
to lower resolution
Right.
and get it ready for telecast. So what was the point of actually shooting in 2K resolution if
Yeah.
you're eventually going to do 800 lines or 600 lines, per frame? That was the kind of thing they were doing.
Right.
And so we did all kinds of experiment. And eventually, once the web television serial that we were doing closed,
Mm-hmm.
we thought we should do a movie. And that's how we stumbled upon this idea of Stumble.
Okay. Right.
We did a movie about, they were all over Bangalore. They were hoardings of .com,
Mm-hmm.
hometrade.com and such, particularly hometrade.com. They had huge spends on advertising, very big hoardings with big cricket and film stars of India, and no product.
Right.
It's just like brand, and
Yeah. Yeah.
So we thought that this is not going to last.
Mhm,
This
mhm.
this whole .com craze,
Right. Right.
and the film was actually that is how the film started, and
Okay.
we had
Okay.
this group of young software engineers,
Yeah.
who get laid off, because the .com begins to go, it goes
The
bust.
bubble bus. Yeah.
At that
That's
time,
right.
it was very good, but this was like
Yeah.
predictive. We said this is going to happen,
Right.
but
Right.
eventually that happened.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
you remember, we eventually went into the 2008
Yeah.
recession,
Exactly. Yeah.
because all kinds of nonsense happened with
True.
with that explosion of digital,
Mm.
IT enabled services.
Yep.
So that's how we did that film, and I feel a little embarrassed about the film now, because we made so many mistakes, because we didn't know anything about filmmaking. We just learned on the job, but we got praise from very respectable critics in India, and we got some awards for it. Yeah, that's how that film happened.
Amazing.
But I lost a lot of money, and I haven't. I've been scared to do a film again after that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure there's many opportunities waiting there.
Yeah,
And
let's
since then,
see.
you've done
Yeah.
so many other. I mean, you've had a career of over 70 movies, I believe. You've done in
At
so many
least,
languages.
At least I
even
don't
more,
know. Maybe
I
it's
think.
more than that now.
Oh yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Wikipedia says from a while back. But
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but
it's-
which ones have been really stood out for you in terms of what?
I have
the highlights of
some of the work I've done in Hindi language, like movies like Talwar.
Mhm.
Have been very good. Madras Cafe,
Yeah.
Airlift,
Yeah.
have been like rewarding.
Mm.
And Madras Cafe was the one that gave me the break.
Right. Right.
I've acted in a Tamil film called Sura Raipotru, for instance. So I have acted in many languages, and
Yeah.
some of the films that I've done in my own language, Kannada,
Mm.
have been good too. But
Yeah.
in the percentage of getting a good film out there is
Yeah.
it's hard. People say I'm lucky even to get as much as I get, but I try to be careful when I listen to the script or read a script and make the decision. But even after that, it can go wrong, and the film itself may not be as good as
Right.
the storytelling was when we
Mhm.
first heard it. Yeah. So
I suppose there's so many. It's a full ecosystem. There's so many dependencies on.
in cinema, because
cinema, yeah,
it's really
right.
like so many
It's-
people
Yeah. Yeah.
put it together, and the same principle applies.
Yeah.
The chain is as strong as its
Right.
weakest link.
But I think your interest has been much deeper in theater, and that's where you've also excelled a lot. And I'll be looking forward to seeing what in your.
Yeah,
mindset,
it's like it's also like kind of it's a kind of sacred thing for me, theater.
Hmm.
Because we are in this visually mediated world where everything is on record.
Yeah.
Where every text lives forever.
Yeah.
It gets amplified.
Hmm.
The most trivial thing becomes as big as the biggest thing.
Hmm.
So you could have somebody drop a tactical nuclear weapon, a nuclear bomb, a sub-kiloton bomb.
Yeah.
And that may not be trending news as much as, say, some movie star had a wardrobe malfunction.
Right.
It's because trivia gets amplified, and quantity has become quality.
Yeah.
That's in such a world, the unrecorded medium, where the performers bring their bodies and minds to the performance.
Yes.
And the audience brings themselves, their body and mind,
Correct.
to the same space and in the same time. That is theater.
Right.
Like live sports. That's a play, and this is a play.
Correct.
And there is something sacred about that, I feel. So and that is why it's the freest medium still. You could like Peter Brook, a very great theater exponent, says, it's empty space, and you create meaning out of empty space. All you need in a theater is a story to tell.
Yeah.
In any performance, a song
True.
to sing,
Right.
a story to tell,
Yes.
and there is an audience.
Yeah.
The teller and the listener is there,
True.
and that's why it becomes such a
Yeah.
sacred thing.
Yeah.
And it's because it's not money dependent. You can make it to the budget that you can, the money you have.
Right.
You can do it with costume. You can do it without costume.
Yeah.
You can play because you're not trapped by the problem of verisimilitude that cinema has. If I have to act, as say, the Prime Minister of Australia,
Yeah.
you'll have to get a white person to do it,
Right.
a white Australian to do it.
Yes.
But in a play, I could do that.
Yeah.
My wife could do that.
Right.
My daughter could do that. See, there's this theater, you
Correct.
just,
Yeah.
this is the idea of suspension of disbelief.
Right.
The people just like, they're told something and you become transparent, the
Yeah.
actor. They see the character through you.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
it's a very beautiful idea.
And I think the deep interaction you have with the rest of the cast and the way you sort of, and I've seen with The Jungle and the Sea, like how you've matured it over subsequent performances and also built a very intricate sort of further storytelling, which is so much more deeper with that three-dimensional, a lot more, more body language sort of revealed in multiple ways.
It really helps that you came and watched that show because, I feel more comfortable to tell you what that process is, right?
Yeah.
So you start doing something, like they say about theater that you don't have a chance of retake like in cinema.
Right.
But I'm saying there is always a chance of retake because you can make it again the next performance.
Yes, exactly.
See, today we have two performances. We can learn something from the afternoon performance, the matinee performance.
Yes.
The evening one may be slightly different from that.
Right.
So there is a possibility of retake and remake.
Yes.
In theater that cinema doesn't do. It's like whatever is shot and recorded is there forever.
Sure.
And you can watch it and say, I could have done this better, but you can't. It's over.
Right.
But in theater, you can.
Sure.
It's always work in progress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.